All right, folks, this is what we got on the go today. Yesterday we did a bunch of trenching and pulling a bunch of cable out to the shop. Just trying to get it all backfilled up before we leave for Mexico, and can't really do that with all this chunky stuff we got here. It's all frozen for the most part, so we're gonna do some hauling and grab some 10 mil rock just to backfill, make sure we don't break the pipe in the process. Always sucks when you go to pull cable through a pipe and it's broken and you can't suck the string through to pull your cable in. We're running 1-inch PVC into the shop just so we can have Wi-Fi in there and hook up some cameras and do whatever we need to for that. So first order of business, start up the dump truck and go get some rock. So first things first, grab the tire checker and do a pre-trip on the truck before we start it. Can't go anywhere without checking the oil and making sure all the fluids are good. Looking like no leaks. Check the tires. These all look good. Looks good, should be good to go. So Kenworths will have the safety latch before you can bring the hood back down. See how she goes. So this is actually 2025 Kenworth W990. Just got this truck actually. It's fairly new. We got 1,000 kilometers on the dash. Just put air in the bags. We ordered this last November 2024, or maybe even October 2024, and just got it in now. So we were lucky enough to get it when we did, because when we got the order in, Allison had actually just got an order of like 70,000 transmissions from the US Army, so we got it in before that, and luckily we got the truck with the spec we wanted. So it's an Allison 4500 RDS transmission. We got it hooked up with the patch gates, so if we're at a customer's house and we don't want to dump gravel all over their front lawn, we could just dump directly into the bucket of the excavator, which works out pretty good. Got the wet kit all rigged up and got it set up. We got a Tridem tag trailer air ride coming in. should be here sometime in December. Got that from Lodestar Trailers in Toronto, which actually ended up being the same spec as Silkstone Group, with the headache rack on the front and all the fancy strobes and stuff like that. We did order some LED headlights from BTS Lighting. Hopefully those come in soon. That'll be a sweet little addition to the rig. Upgraded with the sun visor, and then we have some strobe mounts from factory there, so we'll end up getting those strobes on as well, probably at the same time as we do the headlights. But here's the strobe kit there. But all in all, pretty sweet rig. We ended up getting it a little heavier duty than most of the stuff that comes in town. We got rock art all along the side, and then on the inside we ended up going with the 1/4 inch Hardox floor and 3/16 sides. Out here in Alberta they're pretty worried about weight, trying to cram the most amount of material that you can in the box, but we'll be hauling loads of concrete and boulders, so we didn't want to go too thin on them, because a lot of times what you see is these sides get all dented up and it just doesn't look very professional when they're all dented. So that's the Allison transmission there. And another thing we ended up getting is, that's just your standard air for your dump, but we ended up getting a vibrator in the box. This is just the tailgate latches, tarp latches, and then the auxiliary if we ever get a pup trailer behind it. And then we have the high lift tailgate as well. And of course we rigged up an iPad, so that's just kind of our GPS unit. So we got the Apple Maps, Apple Music, and then all the extra gauges that we ordered. The auto heat inside the cab's nice. So your standard Bluetooth radio. There was an OEM unit that we could have got in here as the nav screen, but the only issue with that is it didn't have Apple CarPlay, so I figured, what was the point if all we use is our phone or the iPad to get around where we're going with Google Maps or Apple Maps? What was the point with trying to mess around with a navigation system that usually ends up being finicky and slow? And Kenworth didn't have that option at the time, so maybe next year model will have Apple CarPlay compatible, but for now that's not what we're going with here. So just got all these extra gauges with the fog lamps for extra lighting, and front drive axle, rear drive axle, temperatures, suspension load, that's handy, so we kind of know roughly where we're at when we're hauling and if we're gonna end up being overweight or not. Tranny temp, fuel filter, Gen Air, and with these new ones you get quite a bit of gauges on the dash, and you can actually customize all this stuff too. But air filter restriction, tranny temp, brake application pressure, and then you got your coolant, fuel, oil temp, torque percentage, turbo boost, primary and secondary air, and oil pressure, of course. And nice to have that digital gauge cluster. Came with the radio, a little bit of storage on the top. We upgraded the seats, so we got premium leather air ride on both driver and passenger. I think this is the limited edition midnight black trim, so it's got some blue accent stitching, and it's kind of like wood grain on the handles and stuff like that. One thing they did actually is when we ordered everything all spec'd out is they have a heavy duty insulated cab as well, so that helps with sound. It actually makes it a pretty nice ride. So one thing I try to do is wait till the cooling at least gets to 30 degrees. I'm not sure if that's overkill or not, but probably Better safer than sorry when you're warming up a cold truck like this. Now, the other thing with the W990 is you do not get as much visibility at the front with the longer hood compared to like a T880. I just figured it'd be a comfortable ride with the set forward front axle when we're hauling the big excavator behind it on the tag trailer. But just gonna grab the kid here and go over to the pit. Kind of surprising too, because I thought with the Allison transmission and only having 6 gears, it would be a lot jerkier and rough, especially under load, than it has been. So far it's been pretty good, smooth shifts. They say they put these things in army trucks and passenger carriers, and they've been using them for forever, so I think it's pretty tried and true. There was some guys that were kicking themselves for going with those Eaton auto shifts and all that stuff because they're having a bunch of issues. Essentially what they have is it's a manual transmission that acts like an automatic. And I guess that's how they kind of engineered those, but I think probably wasn't the worst choice going with the Allison. So I think as far as the road noise goes, it's pretty good. We're governed at 105 here, which is how it came from the factory, but I think most of the road noise comes from the sun visor. But as far as the cab goes, there's nothing coming through the doors or anything like that for sound. Buddy Tyson from Wordplay TV, he just got a Kenworth T880 around the same time as I got this thing, and said there was an 8-bag suspension on the back of his, which mine only has 4-bag, but yeah, I'd like to know his thoughts on how that thing performs. Still got all this snow. We'll see how much is left when we get back. The amount of construction that's going on in Calgary and surrounding area still baffles me. All winter, going steady. But just leaving the pit now. Seems when we get a full load and we're legal, we'll hover around that 90 psi on the suspension load. Too bad, but at least you get a gauge and you know that limit to stay within and make sure you're not overloaded and too heavy. Alright, well, full load, got second gear, third gear, fourth gear. As cold as it is, it's still a nice view. So cold out. Ray, say hi.
Hi.
thing they say, I don't know how realistic this is, but you should be in a neutral first, letting off, and then going back into the gear every time you switch gears. It does waste the brake application. Might be safer on the transmission that way. I'm not too sure. Stop here. Now they say as a safety, you're supposed to be using these containment latches anytime you're using the patch gates, so that when you lift the load, there's no chance of the tailgate opening up and potentially having the load fall on the operator. So first time using these, we'll see how it goes. Of course, we got a bunch of snow in there. The joys of hauling in winter. Back up to bucket. What do you think?
What? She's back.
Mommy?
Yeah.
What does she want? Okay, so we're gonna put the bucket upside down like this.
But why are we gonna put it upside down like that?
And then we're gonna put dump truck scooper in there, so we can put dirt in the bucket, or gravel in the bucket. Well, here goes nothing. Maybe this is supposed to work better when it's not frozen. How's it looking there? Will the vibrator help, or are we gonna have to just dump this on the ground? Try this. Did that do anything? Not much. Alright, let's try that again and just dump it. Well, that's a pain in the butt. Shuts off if you don't leave it on the governor. So then you gotta go to cruise, and I don't think it'll let you do that if the door's open. And then resume. No, it will not shut off. Well, figured since this was raised and the bags were dumped, we might as well check underneath here. So what they got is just this regular 4-bag system, but I'm still curious as to what Tyson's got on his. And then we got the vibrator right there. Fancy stuff under here. So if I did need to work on it with this raised, there is the safety I could put down, so I drop the bed on top of that. Just a little latch that would go in line with that, but other than that, it's pretty straightforward. One thing I did go with is the 445 steers. So pretty beefy front tires. They are rated for more weight, but Alberta only allows you so much. Alright, we'll put this down. It is nice with the day cap being able to see back there. Make sure nothing gets hung up, and it's down. Put the tailgate down. Disengage the PTO. So one thing with the Kenworth too is it automatically dumps the bags when you're engaging the PTO. Just stabilizes the back end more so you can't tip over side to side. So another thing I do when I park it is I wait for the air pressure to build up so that the system can do a purge. Here at some point here. Like that, and then I'll dump the bags, window up, turn the truck off, headlamps, and then the other thing I'll do is actually dump the air now. So it takes about 45 seconds for each tank. But we got primary and secondary. There's actually a second primary tank back there. It also gets drained during that. But might be a little bit overkill, but it just prevents condensation from building up in the tank. We're going to be gone for a week, so it's with the fluctuation of temperature back and forth, it's just nice to have everything completely drained up, and then we'll just rebuild new air in the system next time we use it. Alright, now time to finally be dealing with this mess. So we will backfill with that 10 mil round just as bedding, and kind of get it in between to make sure we're not breaking the pipe. Well, there more perks of working till sunset, that's for sure. those are the chunks of stuff you definitely don't want falling on a plastic pipe, or the tech for that matter, because you dent the cable and it ends up arcing over ground or over neutral, then just wasted a whole lot of money and a whole lot of time, all for nothing, because then you got to try and find where you broke it. And sometimes at a certain point, if it got broken in more than one spot, you're basically scrapping a pretty big chunk of it and trying to dig it out by hand, and it just turns into a big gong show for sure. And you got big rocks like this one you don't want hitting either. Just not a good time. Most of the time, this type of material would actually be perfect for backfilling. It's kind of like a sandy clay, but when it's frozen into clumps, not so much. But at least you know you did your due diligence when you got that bedding material down, because you just hog it right back into the trench when you're backfilling and not really have to worry about it too much. Of course, there's extra steps. If this is a customer's house, we'd be compacting the trench as we backfill using a compaction roller, but we don't really need to do that here because it's going to be a while until we build that shop, and it'll have time to settle, and just going to keep an eye on it as it does settle. We can just fill it in as we need.